Hello, everybody. This is Madhavi from taroticallyspeaking.com. And I know I've been promising, I've been thinking that I'll make videos, but finally I worked up the courage to do it. The idea, at least for now, is that every month I will pick a topic and make a video. So if I'm inclined, however, to make more videos, so different things like reviews and stuff, I'll totally do it. But for now, because I tend to get overwhelmed pretty easy like that. For now, the concept is that every month I will pick a topic and do a tarot related video for that. So this month, February, we know the topic obviously is romance because Valentine's Day is kind of right around the corner. It's as of today, it's the 11th. I'm recording on the 11th. I don't know when I'll be publishing it, but I hope to publish it before or on Valentine's Day. But the thing is, it's Valentine's Day. February is all about Valentine's Day, and so I figured I might as well start with romance because as a reader, it's funny, but 90% of my readings are about relationships. It's even more funny because I'm a confirmed bachelorette, so I'm like, romance, whatever. But but that's me personally. The cards, however, have their own advice, guidance, whatever, and most of the readings that I keep getting are about romance. So I'm sure many of you out there must be curious. What are the cards that talk about romance? What specifically, like when, if let's say you go for a reading and then there are these, you see that there are these cards that the reader has pulled up, and yeah, some cards are decidedly not related to it, and we'll see a few of those in the presentation that I've prepared for you guys. But you can connect the dots, and some cards are decidedly about romance. Now, another thing that bears mentioning here is that not everything is all, roses. If there are any of you out there who have been dumped or, broken up or whatever on Valentine's Day, I know that's like cruel, but people do that. People have experience. And so, love is all about the plus minus, the pros, cons, the good, bad. Romance, similarly, is about that. There's good stuff, there's the bad stuff, and there's the tears and the crying and the patch ups and the breakups. So, I'm going to discuss all of that in the upcoming the presentation that you're going to be seeing in this video. Hopefully I should be able to do it right. uh, this is my first or maybe second attempt, but first attempt with this particular software that I'm using. So please cut me some slack. Okay, so Valentine's Day and romance. Romance in the tarot cards. The tarot cards are often used for all sorts of readings. Most of them, are about romance and relationships. And so today we're going to look at the different cards that talk about relationships or romance and relating, because when two people relate to each other, it's a relationship. But we're going to look at it specifically from the romance angle, okay? Of course, we're going to discuss both the upright and the reverse cards because, as I said in the little bit of introduction before, there's good stuff and there's bad stuff, and I'm not just going to be discussing the hearts and flowers here. So we're going to look at both the good stuff and the bad stuff, the negative and the positive. So, to start off with, we'll look at the cards in the major arcana, okay? Because, and especially, let's start off with the upright cards. Okay, the very first card obviously is the Lovers card because that's like the card that talks about relationships. This card, when you see that in a reading, and especially it's a relationship reading, then this card talks about lovers. This card talks about relationships. This card talks about loving relationships. We have in this picture, of course, we have Adam and Eve, and there's a whole lot of symbolism there, which I'm not going to get into. But ultimately, this card, when it pops up and it's a relationship reading and it's upright, then it does give a very positive indication that the relationship is a good relationship. It's a very romantic, very well connected relationship. It's a blessed relationship. And also, on a very different level, this can just, it talks about a very blessed time. But we'll get into that at the end of it. There's a whole discussion that I want to do about the Lovers card, the imagery of the Lovers card specifically. But this is like the card that's, the Valentine's card. And of course, the next one, we have my favorite, the Devil card. And it's not my favorite for any negative or whatever reason. It's the Capricorn card, and that's my sun sign. So this card does have a lot of warnings and information and whatnot for me. And here, if you see, these two guys from the previous card, the Lovers card, are here too, the Adam and Eve, and now they're chained. uh, to me, depending on the kind of relationship reading that we're doing, this can talk about people who are bound in a relationship. Uh, from a very commitment phobic person's point of view, that can be a very negative sign, that can be seen very, very negatively. They don't want to be bound in a relationship. This also talks about, because it's the Devil card, it's the Capricorn card, it's a very earth sign card, and all the different symbolism in there. It can talk about relationships which have been created because of materialistic reasons, or they're bound together because of materialistic reasons. So all sorts of economically connected or causal relationships can also show up here in this card. And of course, there's the whole BDSM angle. If you're into that sort of kinky stuff, then the Devil card often does show that angle within a relationship. Um, Next card is the Tower card. You guys must be wondering, what's this card got to do with relationships? Well, look at the picture. Come on. It's about a breakup. It's something that happens suddenly. This is when your boyfriend or your girlfriend decides to break up with you on Valentine's Day or some special day. It's something you haven't expected. It's out of the blue and it's sudden. Tower is all about stuff that happens suddenly. And since there are, the two people in the card, we can give it that little relationship-ish flavor if it comes within that context in the spread. Also, this card can talk about a couple going through a tragedy or some sort of a sudden change together with each other. So they are together, they're falling together, like in the picture. They remain together, but they're going through a calamity or a tragedy or some sort of a sudden event, but they remain together. So, again, obviously, as I keep saying all the time, your intuition is going to play a very big role in determining which particular interpretation applies to that card in the spread when you get it. So so it's not necessary that whatever, all the meanings will apply every single time, every single spread. It's got to be seen within a certain particular context. Okay. And now, of course, we are going to look at these cards reversed. If you have the Lovers reversed, so naturally this, is going to talk about a breakup, or it can talk about a relationship that's just purely very sexual. There's no, what do you say? The heart element is not present. It can just be a very, purely sexual relationship or a breakup. That's mostly that's what comes up. And then, of course, the Devil card in the reversed. Now these bonds will break. So if they are in a relationship where they were bound together, now they will be freed from that relationship. Or if they were in a relationship where they were tied together because of materialistic bonds, as the chains come out, they will be freed from those materialistic bonds. So, like I said, this card is a very interesting card because it talks about many things. And, not so much hardcore BDSM if you're into that sort of thing. It's a very light BDSM. The only reason I'm suggesting this is because of the chains and stuff, people have preferences, and I just thought I should cover it. uh, of course, tower. Now, when the tower comes reverse, the point is the sudden change is going to happen because that is inevitable with the tower. However, maybe on some level, maybe intuitively, or maybe rationally, you were aware that this might happen, although you didn't know when it would happen. You did have an idea that something like this would happen. That is what the tower reverse is all about. So in this situation, if we connect it to or see this in the aspect of the relationship scenario, it's like you knew that your girlfriend or your boyfriend was probably going to break up with you at some point, and you probably figured out what the cause would have been or was or is going to be. So then you try to make it so, or you change things so much so that the breakup gets averted, right? Here, you like I said, you have an idea of the upcoming situation. Also, this in terms of the going through the hardship or tragedy together, but here in this tower reverse, you're not together, you are apart from each other. You're going through the same situation, the same tragedy, but you're not like together with each other. Maybe there's a physical distance, maybe there's an emotional distance, or maybe it's a couple that's broken up but they're still going through the same kind of tragedies affecting both of them. That can happen. So there's different, permutation combination situations where this tower reversed can also talk about, the relationship angle. Now we come to the major arcana. Now I'm sorry, the minor arcana. The major arcana, they talk about really big, heavy stuff. So the effect can be felt for a while in terms of time. But with the minor arcana, it's your day-to-day events, it's your regular everyday angles that are covered. So that's sort of the difference. And of course, we're going to look at upright first. Yay, four of wands. This is a party card. This is a happy marriage card. Look at the couple by the gate.
It's 6 o'clock.
They are welcoming everybody. And the four wands with the leaves and fruits and all, that's a very typical marriage scenario. Many marriage ceremonies are usually held within on some sort of in a place where there are four pillars or wands or some such thing similar to that, and maybe a cloth on top of it or something like like a dais. So ceremonies are, marriage ceremonies are often held in this, and four is a number of stability and home. So this four of wands obviously is about passion, it's about celebration, it's about happy marriage, it's a successful relationship. So it's a very happy party kind of card. And then we have the three of swords. Yes, the good and the bad. So naturally this card reverse will be not so bad, right? Upright, the picture speaks 1,000 words. There's a heart with three swords plunged through it. It's definitely a heartbreaking scenario, right? It could talk about betrayal, the two swords meaning two people, and the third sword coming in, so there's a third person in the relationship, so it's like cheating, or leaving someone for another person. So the three of swords is not necessarily a happy picture, it's a heartbreaking picture. In terms of romance, it can talk about obviously heartbreak, betrayal, and cheating. Finally, a happy picture again. We have two of cups, which is a very, like the meet cute, boy meets girl or girl meets boy. That's what they're doing. They're meeting, they're exchanging cups. Cups are feelings, cups are emotions. They're sharing their feelings and emotions with each other. So I think this card is beautiful in terms of, like it talks about the meeting, talks about the beginning of the relationship. It talks, or it can even talk about how the relationship or the interaction happens. People, this couple, they are very comfortable sharing their feelings and thoughts and everything with each other. This card can also talk about a friendship. Okay, it's not necessarily always about relationships. This can talk about friendships or even business partnerships, everything which happens on an emotional, where the connection is based on emotions, feelings, because it's a cups card. But there is also that possibility, because this relationship, if depending, again, I'm not saying every relationship, but I say sometimes this can develop into a relationship, also this friendship. Because we see the caduceus and the lion, they're all about healing, they're all about passion. That's the symbol. So that's the kind of connection these two share. There's a definite emotional compatibility that exists between these two. So that's the connection there. Then we have the the Six of Cups. Six of Cups is all about nostalgia. This is about flashbacks. This is about, thinking about old relationships and reminiscing and saying, oh, yeah, she was a nice girlfriend, or he was a nice boyfriend. And, you forget why you broke up with them in the first place because that's how nostalgia is. But then you remember the good parts and you're like, oh, she was nice, or he was nice. Sometimes it can even talk about reconnecting with an old lover or an old, girlfriend or boyfriend. So that can be good or bad depending on how situations work out. But it does talk about these things. Next card, again, not a happy picture. Eight of Cups. We see this guy. He stacked all his cups and he's walking away. Right, in the sky we have the eclipse happening, the clarity of the sun being obscured by the emotions and confusion of the moon. And the way the cups are stacked is very interesting. We have two sort of distinct stacks. We have 5 and 3, the 5 of cups being sadness and depression, and 3 of cups being celebration and joy. So the way I see it is he's stacked up both the happiness and the sadness, and he's essentially all the good and the bad emotions, he's put them aside, away from him. He's distancing himself from that, and he's walking away. Right, it could also mean that this person, with in a relationship spread, it could mean this person is going to walk away, or he's going to emotionally distance himself from the other person, or he's already emotionally distant, or he definitely, there is a need for space in a relationship. And I know that this whole I need space business has often become a butt of jokes or some such thing, but trust me, space is important and sometimes it is essential for one person to give the other person space. And that can sometimes keep a relationship going. But this card can talk about any or all of these things. Then, of course, Ten of Cups, the happy marriage, the happy family. This is like the perfect picture. We have the emotionally connected family because it's cups. So that's why it's all about feelings and emotions. And the kids are playing, the husband, wife, the house in the distance, the little river. It's like everybody's sort of dream family or ideal family picture right here with the Ten of Cups. And now we begin Pentacles and Five of Pentacles. And you'll be like, what's this card got to do with romance? Look carefully, I say, look carefully. Yes, this card has its own shades. Five of Pentacles is often about financial distress and difficulty. But look carefully, in the picture we see this guy and this lady. And even in the hardship, these guys are together. He doesn't leave her because the times are tough. She doesn't leave him because the times are tough. Or because he's, kind of, bumbling away on he's like, you know. So both of them are with each other despite the bad times and during the hardships. I think, and again, this may not necessarily be a romantic thing, but it could be also a romantic thing. The point is, uh, these two stick together even in the hard times, even in the bad times, even in the tough times. So I think that's a very important aspect of romance too, where a couple stays together even in hard times, hardships. Okay. Then we have Ten of Pentacles. Again, pentacles are different from cups. I would say pentacles contain the element of cups, but pentacles also contain all the other elements. That's what the five-pointed star is all about. It's about all the elements together and materialized, right? So in the pentacles, we see sort of the same thing. The happy family, the happy marriage elements are there. But we also see that it has materialized into something really more tangible. So we have someone, a family that is also practically along with emotionally connected. There's also financially a certain richness, you can say, or financially a lot of stability is there in the air. So there's a lot of abundance and prosperity that has come along with the element of emotions. So I that's like, and you can see the by the gate, the husband wife sort of laughing and talking to each other. That's romance for you. That's Ten of Pentacles, a happily married sort of family life romance. And then, of course, we have the reverse cards. Now, as we saw in the upright cards, not all the upright cards were happy pictures. So, I would say not all the reverse cards are going to be sad pictures. So, let's look at that. But, of course, Four of Wands reversed. Here we have a party that's sort of gone sour, or there's a delay that's going to happen for some or the other reason. This card has often popped up in terms of a breakup or a divorce, or a very unhappy or disharmonized marriage. There's definite disharmony in this in the relationship that is portrayed by this card. As I said before, Three of Swords. Now this card reversed is not necessarily completely negative. Yes, now we can see that the swords are going to fall out of that heart there. So this can show someone who is dealing with or healing from that heartbreak, or someone who discovers a betrayal or a cheating, or who recovers from something that has happened. And again, someone who discovers the third person, you find out your boyfriend's cheating on you, and then you move on, you that sort of thing, which is usually, that happens. That's your Three of Swords reversed. Okay. Two of Cups reversed, again not a happy picture. There's like this is like, if we're looking at the beginning parts of a relationship and this card pops up, that means that there is no connection. There's a disconnect right from the beginning. This card can also talk about a long distance relationship. That's come up for me several times, where there's a physical distance, not an emotional distance, but a physical distance between the couple. Again, use your intuition very, very discerningly on this, right? Because it could be both physical and emotional distance, right? Because the healing is not happening, the passion is, you're not feeling it. Sometimes long distance relationships don't end well. So that's kind of this card. Six of Cups reversed. Yep. Right? You finally stop becoming all nostalgic about the old girlfriend or boyfriend, and you deal with whatever stuff or issues are there from the past. You stop doing the flashback thing, or you disconnect with the ex. This whole, again, this is a very personal thing. Sometimes people, after breaking up, they decide to remain friends and whatever. It's, again, it depends on the people involved. It depends on the maturity of the people involved. It may or may not be a good thing. So especially when it's not a good thing, and so the disconnecting with the ex thing can come into play, which, depending, like I said, if it's not such a good thing to remain connected with your ex, sometimes it's good to just disconnect, because if it hinders you from moving on forward, then it's better to disconnect. Okay, that's your Six of Cups reversed. Eight of Cups reverse. Now this guy, he wants to walk away. The fact that this card has come up means that he wants to walk away, but he isn't. He's unable to do so for whatever reason. Sometimes there's emotional blackmail, there's emotional pressure, and I've seen this in many readings where, because of some of either or both of these reasons, the person who does want to walk away does not walk away. This card is an clear indication of his desire. The other person, I'm not, but when I say his, I don't mean not necessarily the guy. It can be a girl too. It's often a girl too. The point is, uh, because of emotional, because in the picture it's a guy, so I'm saying his, but it could be a girl, right? The girl in the relationship who wants to walk out, but for whatever reason doesn't. uh Similarly, the person wants to put an emotional distance, or he wants it or likes it, or he needs the space, but he's not getting it. He's not getting the space. He or she is not able to, sometimes, relationships, some of them sometimes can be a little too claustrophobic, and that can be hard. So that's your Eight of Cups reversed. Then, of course, we have the Ten of Cups reversed. Unhappy marriage, unhappy family. There's definitely an emotional disconnect. So, even if the family life is okay, this card in the reverse can talk about a disconnect. Again, we can, this card does come up. I'm sorry I didn't put it in the presentation meanings there. That's sometimes, you are living away from your family, and your family is like the perfect Ten of Cups upright picture, but you are physically away from them. That can happen. Then your Five of Pentacles reverse. So again, this couple, right? Now it's hard, the hard times are there, but they are apart. Or they break up, or they become apart because of these bad times. So that's your romantic-ish angle for this card. And of course, Ten of Pentacles reverse. Again, the same sort of, unhappy family, unhappy marriage, and the disconnect between the people in the relationship there. Um, yeah, so like I said, a little discussion about the Lovers card. Because the Lovers card has kind of evolved through time. Now, let the pictures pop up. Haha, very nice. I'm good with this keynote thing, isn't it? So if you see the first card, from the Marseille Tarot, you have this guy in the picture, and these are, two women. One is an older woman, the one on the left with the cap, I think, is the older woman. It could be the mother, and the other one, the blonde, is the girlfriend or the wife. And there's Cupid up in the sky, and he's, waiting to shoot his arrow. That was kind of originally how the Lovers card was presented in the deck, where this young man had to choose, whether to stay with his mother or move, with his wife. I think that's a very important sort of threshold for most people, when they get into that sort of a relationship, because now they are going to distance themselves from the motherly sort of bonding that they have with the opposite sex, and now go into a relationship where there is a definite non-motherly angle, to like a romantic angle, and look at the opposite sex in that, and relate with the opposite sex mostly in that way. So that's how the meaning, or the other option, the the meaning of choice was there in the Lovers card, before. And then, of course, in now the picture we have here is the universal weight, but this is the same image as the Rider Waite. And now we have Adam and Eve, and the angel, I believe, Raphael, right? Here now, Adam and Eve have been shown in the Garden of Eden. However, they are not banished from the garden. Rather, now they are being blessed, because even after eating the apple from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, they're still shown nude. Now, by showing them nude, I believe nudity is very symbolic. It means there's nothing to hide. So they still retain that innocence which they had before eating the apple, and now after eating the apple also they have retained. So now this, even after having that knowledge of good and evil in the world, they still retain that pureness of purity, that innocence. And that is why now the angel is blessing them, so that is why they still remain in Eden. That, I think, is kind of the picture that has been presented here in the Lover's card. So I believe the choice here, that with this picture, is kind of very subtly shown, where they could have chosen to clothe themselves and and then get carried away with their own knowledge of good and evil, and not retain that purity of their soul. But that, with their choice, was to retain it. And that is a very subtle way of showing that choice angle. And if you see now, this these are the two lovers cards that came with my the next two cards here, with the Victorian Romantic Tarot, because we're talking about romance, so I had to pull a few cards from that deck. Yes, two angles or two ways that they have presented. Now this deck has two lovers cards. The first one shows a very Puritan Victorian love, where it's not a very physical sort of a thing. It's more emotional, it's more mental. So that's why the couple is kind of walking hand in hand in the garden. They're kind of courting each other. But the other card here, we have the lovers in a very passionate embrace. So there's that love has now transcended from the emotional or mental platonic Puritan angle, and has become also physical. So that's passion again now in the picture, and that is how the second lovers card has popped up. And then, of course, we have this card from the Pagan Tarot, which again clearly represents the choice angle. This is one of the decks that I kind of like a lot. Here, this the lady in the foreground is the modern witch, and if you see, she's got two choices. On the left, she's her seeing her coven. They're going off on a trip, I think, to learn or study or some such. And on the right is her family, her mother and her child. So she has to now choose, well, from the family life, or moving and out of that enclosed sort of space and going out into the world. That is her choice. So you see how choice has sort of evolved uh, in different ways, different themes. It's been presented in the lovers card. And so lovers card, as I said, it's not necessarily always about the romance. It was earlier about choices. It was about, it was the next step sort of in a person's evolution, so to speak. And that's sort of being presented here uh, through these various cards. So yep, thank you so much for watching my very amateurish presentation. I promise you, I hope that I will get better with time. And I really hope you enjoyed this presentation, about this little discussion about the cards. You please go ahead and subscribe to my channel, because I'm gonna be posting videos at least once a month. You can also visit my site and sign up for the newsletter. And there's a little mini e-course or some such thing. I think I've set it up like that you'll get it. And about, especially if you're interested in learning how to read the tarot cards using storytelling techniques. And yeah, or you can just subscribe on YouTube and just keep watching my videos. So thank you. And those of you who are actually going to have a romantic Valentine's Day, have a happy Valentine's Day.